Hi, I'm Wayne, and I was born with end-stage renal failure. I think it's extremely important to start talking about the lives of people who are on a transplant list from a patient's perspective, because you can get all the statistics you want, but until you really hear from a patient what their lives are like waiting for these vital organs, you won't really understand the disease. So this video is just going to be some of my experiences that I've had waiting on the list and some frustrations about being on a list, and then also what it's like after you get a life-saving transplant. So a little history on me. I was born with only one kidney and it was working at only about 30%. When I was 3, it finally gave out and I got a transplant from my mom. But that only lasted a week. It was the 90s. Medicine wasn't that great. And I had to go on dialysis. For 10 years of my life then, I was on peritoneal dialysis. And then for another 5, I was on hemodialysis until I got my second kidney transplant from my uncle. Luckily, this one lasted 5 years. And since then, I've been on hemodialysis. I'm back on a list at Boston's Brigham and Women's. And I'm just waiting and doing dialysis. I think something that I notice now more than I would have when I was a child is the lack of awareness there is for people in need of a transplant. Either people just don't know, or they think dialysis for kidney patients is an alternative cure. But the awareness just isn't there. And it can get really frustrating for someone like me who's been doing this my whole life to see a Facebook page, or people pouring ice over their heads, or people running in marathons for all these other diseases to raise money, to raise awareness. And for kidney disease, to raise awareness is the cure. If you get people, by doing these marathons, by posting on Facebook, by making a video, by talking about it, you could get somebody to go out and donate their kidney. You could get somebody to sign the back of their driver's license and save lives that way. Awareness really can be a cure for this disease. So it gets frustrating when nobody really knows about what you're talking about when you're like, oh, well, I have kidney disease and I need a transplant. It can get frustrating. And people think dialysis is a great cure or an alternative cure, but it really isn't, because I personally am on 5 days a week for 2 hours, 2.5 hours a day. Other people are on it all night. Some people are on it 3 hours, 3 times a week, and that can get exhausting. It takes almost 6 hours to recover from each treatment. It's really not a life, and it extends the wait time you have on the list, but you can die while waiting for a kidney. You can die while waiting for a liver. These are deadly diseases that we have, and for people not to really know that is frustrating and scary. I think another important thing to talk about when talking about transplants is the scared feeling a donor can get. People don't know what donating is like until they do it. Callie Ripa said that the recipient feels 100% better while the donor feels 100% worse. This statement isn't true at all, but unfortunately that's what people think when they think of kidney transplants, liver transplants, any kind of transplantation. But in actuality, the recipient doesn't feel better right away. It takes a while to heal. It's major surgery. It's going to take time to heal. But the donor doesn't feel good right away, but they will get there. Both of them will get there. After I got my transplant, I went to college. I had a normal life. My uncle, he led a normal life after he donated. Yes, it took about 6 months to heal, but we both had great opportunities after the transplant. And that's something people really need to know about, because it's not going to ruin your life. You're going to have a perfectly healthy life, and you're going to save somebody and let them have a perfectly healthy life as well. So I think the last thing I want to say is just really research into transplantations, because the list is long. It is a long wait in order to get these kidneys, these livers, these anything. People are on the list for years. I've been on the list 5+ years and there's still no end in sight. So research, look it up, spread awareness, let donors know that it's not that scary, and just think of the patients and their lives and really relate to these people and do whatever you can to be able to help them out.